All right, folks, it's Alvin here with Green Ground, where we bring you the latest in news, reviews, and everything in between from movies, TV series, to the cutting edge of technology. Now, I'm diving into something that has been gnawing at me, and I think it's time we really talk about it. I'm talking about the 2024 remake of The Crow, a film that has managed to become one of the most pointless endeavors in recent cinematic history. Buckle up, because this is going to be a ride through the dreariest of movie valleys. Before we dig in, remember, if you're enjoying what we're doing here, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. We want to hear from you. So let's take a walk down memory lane. The original The Crow, released in 1994, was an absolute masterpiece. It had a dark, gothic allure, with Brandon Lee delivering a haunting performance as Eric Draven, a man brought back from the dead to avenge the brutal murder of his fiancée and himself. The film wasn't just about revenge, it was a gothic fairy tale, a story drenched in pain and sorrow, but with a soul that captivated audiences. It was raw, visceral, and somehow beautiful in its tragic despair. There was a magic to it, a sort of gritty charm that resonated with anyone who's ever felt the sting of loss. But now, here we are in 2024, and some bright spark in Hollywood decided it was a good idea to remake The Crow. I can imagine the pitch meeting: hey, let's take a cult classic, strip it of all its soul, and churn out a lifeless, corporatized version that's sure to remind everyone why some things should just be left alone. And that's exactly what they did. This remake isn't just bad, it's a study in how not to do a remake. Imagine taking everything that made the original special: its atmosphere, its emotional depth, its iconic protagonist, and throwing it out the window in favor of something that feels more like a bad TV pilot than a film worthy of The Crow's legacy. The first mistake? The decision to shift the focus onto Shelley, Eric Draven's love interest, and their relationship. Now, in the original, Shelley was more of a symbol, a representation of Eric's lost love, and the driving force behind his quest for revenge. We saw her mostly through flashbacks, brief, poignant moments that underscored the tragedy of the story. She wasn't the star of the show, and that's what made it work. But in this 2024 remake, Shelley is pushed to the forefront, and not in a good way. Shelley is portrayed as a former prostitute with a drug addiction, on the run from a crime lord named Vincent. And let me tell you, this character isn't just a misstep, it's a tumble down a flight of stairs. She's far from the innocent, tragic figure we saw in the original. Instead, she's this rough, unlikable character that doesn't inspire the same kind of empathy. And the worst part? The chemistry between Shelley and Eric is so non-existent, you'd need a microscope to find it. And speaking of Eric Draven, let's talk about the man of the hour, or rather, the shadow of the man he's supposed to be. In the original, Brandon Lee's portrayal of Eric was mesmerizing. He was a tortured soul, but there was a strength, a purpose driving him forward. He was on a mission, and you felt every ounce of his pain and fury. In the remake, however, Eric Draven is, quite frankly, a mess. He spends the majority of the film sulking, crying, and generally being useless until he finally, after what feels like an eternity, becomes the Crow. And even then, he's more of a whiny, reluctant hero than the force of nature we remember. And the plot, oh the plot. It's as if someone took the original script, ran it through a shredder, and then tried to piece it back together with all the wrong parts. The movie begins with Shelley running from Vincent after one of her friends sends incriminating evidence to her. Eric meets Shelley in a rehab center because apparently that's where our new hero hangs out these days, and after an escape that feels more like a forced plot device than a thrilling adventure, they begin a relationship. What follows is a series of dull, lifeless scenes that feel more like watching paint dry than a passionate love story. Eventually, Vincent's goons catch up with them, and Eric is killed, only to be resurrected by a strange being named Kronos, who tells him he must kill Vincent to save Shelley. And here's where it goes from bad to worse. You'd think at this point the film would finally kick into gear, but no. Eric continues to bumble his way through, despite having supernatural powers, and even Kronos gets fed up with him. The climax, if you can call it that, is a tedious, drawn-out fight scene where Eric, now fully the Crow, faces off against Vincent, a 60-year-old man who, despite apparently being an immortal demon ninja, offers about as much threat as a wet paper towel. By the time the credits roll, you're left wondering why this movie even exists. Who thought this was a good idea? The original, The Crow, was about vengeance, about love lost, and about the pain of those left behind. It was dark, yes, but it had heart. This remake? It's a soulless cash grab, a film that completely misses the point of what made The Crow special in the first place. If you're a fan of the original, Do yourself a favor, avoid this one like the plague. Go back, rewatch Brandon Lee's performance, and remember what the crow is supposed to be. Now, I know I've been harsh, but sometimes you have to be. When something you love is turned into something so unrecognizable, it's hard not to be. But that's enough from me. If you want more details, check the description, and if you have thoughts of your own, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got plenty more to talk about here at Green Ground. Until next time, keep it real, folks.